a week, every week. One free pizza.
And we know it's cheaper on a Wednesday.
It is cheaper on a Wednesday. We should shoot on Wednesdays.
We should shoot on Wednesdays.
For Jolly's specials on Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just remember what we spoke about on the mic.
What do you mean? When?
You must speak into the mic and look at me.
Yeah, I think yours is too far up though.
You right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's better.
It was obstructing your face.
Hiding it.
Yeah. So, what's up? What's popping?
Yo, bro, just getting ready for a little bit of an excursion next week.
So you're going to Greece?
I'm going to Greece, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, at no perfect timing, bro. I need the break, reset, rewind. Breaking a little bit of the cold weather as well, which is an extra bonus, and celebrating with friends. So
that's cool, man.
No, I'm feeling blessed.
So what? You said you're going for a wedding?
Wedding, yeah.
Okay. That's
no,
cool.
and you must be a special friend to go travel as far as we're traveling to go have your wedding, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy. Or a relative, like who is this guy? Is he your friend?
It's one of my primary school, high school, and then I worked for the family. So there's a lot of ties
in the coffee business.
So there's a lot of ties. I love the family.
So you're like a stepbrother.
Yeah, well, fuck. No, they've been really good. MA was one of my mentors from the get-go. How he understands and analyzes how to deal with different individuals is something that I will take to the grave, and I use it every single day. You know, so shout out to MA for doing.
Would you say that's your mentor?
I will say
a mentor of yours.
I think a mentor for sure.
Okay.
I think there's in life you have multiple mentors. Hopefully your parents, you're fortunate enough to have parents as your mentor.
Yeah.
And they give you a good foundation. But in life you could see somebody on TV and that guy comes to your mentor
True.
So yeah, he was one of a big influence in my business life. So shout out to you. I'm going to look forward to Palomas on the beach.
Yes.
It's fucking one of my favorite things to do.
What is it?
Paloma. It's like a tequila with grapefruit. It's amazing.
Really? You only get it in Greece?
No, you can order it anywhere in South Africa.
I've never seen it anywhere. Well, that's because I'm probably never even looking
for it. Yeah.
Paloma. Okay.
Paloma. Yeah.
Noted. If you're just tuning in, I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome y'all to the LoudSpoken podcast. My name is Uno the Dank Dude.
And I'm Shan the Cannaman.
What it do, bro?
But today I'm dressed by Uno the Dank Dude.
Hey.
At least part of my drip, at least.
Yeah. We had to take off that Man United jersey.
It's true.
Yeah.
But you see, I was wearing it proudly, bro. The whole day today.
Yeah. So. I haven't saw another dude
bro,
outside.
We signed Cunha.
Yeah.
News.
No.
For it, just let's talk about this.
Okay.
And then we'll stop talking about football because it's not important.
Yeah.
But for a club to pull such players, the girls don't like it. But for a club to pull such players during probably one of their worst seasons ever, really just shows you the level of this club.
What about Bruno saying no to 100 million?
Bro, did you see his weekly package? 700,000 euros a week,
dog. And he's like, no.
So Bruno, you know, you have all my respect, all the Man U fans. Let's hope for a good season, and let's leave it right there.
And you know something that, when was that final played? It was played past weekend.
The weekend.
You see which
PSG,
final? It was so
Inter Milan.
It was so forgettable.
The slaughter of Inter. Yeah, that happened. Yeah.
That was last week. So we haven't seen each other since it happened. Okay, so it's worth talking about.
It is great. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't watch it.
But you had some, PSG.
In fact, I forgot about it.
Until you saw the TV?
No! God, I was hustling very hard that day. So, I didn't see a TV until I realized that around 8, 9, like, oh my God, today is the Champions League final. I was like, okay, but I still don't give a shit because none of those are my teams.
Yeah. Right? I had the same feeling.
But it's like, it wasn't in the air. I didn't see anybody wearing a jersey of either team during the day. You know, nothing. You know, so I'm just building.
No restaurants promoting it.
Bro,
highly.
I swear to you, I didn't see it on any screen.
I hear you.
And I'm not saying that it's not big because the PSG beat Arsenal. I'm not saying that. I'm just like highlighting what I observed. Furthermore, right, 5-0 ironically is a good way to scale one of the like comparative differences I found between those teams.
Yo. No, PSG's had an amazing season, bro.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we beat them twice, but yeah, they beat us. They beat us where it counted. Yeah, they have. No, what I realized about PSG as a team is that they were going from strength to strength.
It's true.
That, you know, a lot of teams maybe start hot and peak soon.
Yeah.
But PSG was going from strength to strength.
Yeah. They were consistent throughout the season.
But then let's look at the stats, right?
You're gonna tell me how much they pay.
PSG bill for wages is 5 times the size of Inter Milan. PSG's got a higher bill than Real Madrid with no Mbappe.
Where's this FIFA financial fair play, bro? Because they're gonna chow Man City, if not, who knows, whatever.
Yeah,
But no, there's corruption at a foot, my friend. There's something happening there.
You know, there's a friend of mine.
Good luck to all the soccer players and all the families' lives that they're changing.
There's this guy who
I hope you save your money.
I was
and be
friends
smart.
with him in primary school. He was the best soccer player I ever knew. His name was Stephen Jones.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we were in Namibia. He loved Man United. His passion for United. He was a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
His passion for Man United made me be a United fan, right? So Stephen Jones loved United. So a couple years later, we're older. I bump into him here at the University of Pretoria. He's studying, and I'm like, Stephen, like, so do you still like football? He's like, nah, I don't watch football anymore. Like, it's all about money. You know, I was touched. I'm like, Stephen,
is that you?
That's you, Stephen. If you give up that, then there's no. Why am I still watching?
Yeah, why do I get? Yeah.
So when the Qatar World Cup came about, I was like, oh my God, this is the shit Stephen was talking about.
It's all about the money.
Now I'm watching Qatar World Cup.
I thought he was all about the money. No, you mean the football's all about the money?
Yeah,
okay.
No. He stopped. He cut out football from his life because it was all about the money. You know, so now I'm watching. I'm watching this docu. It's PSG, the Qatari owned with the sovereign fund generated from petrodollar. I'm like, yo, man, so these guys got a bottomless pit of money that they're throwing into this thing. And dog, I don't know how much it counts. Or what. Or if it's a different sport now, but like, it doesn't feel the same to watch football.
We were speaking with my group of mates, that same group that's always chit-chatting, and football in the 90s is completely different to the football now. Now, it is a lot more art. The play has got a lot faster.
Yeah.
The players are a lot more physical in the sense, not in terms of the actual game physical, because now the game's not physical at all. It's a bunch of ballerinas on the pitch, but in terms of like the actual athlete, they are super athletes now. You know, all of these fucking 11 players are super athletes at what they're doing. But how does a salary make sense? In what right mind does an individual need 700,000 a week, bro? Just imagine what you could do with that in any type of charity.
But you know what's crazy about that? It's like 700,000. It's a lot of pressure to earn that, bro.
I'm not saying professional footballer it's an easy job, but I think a brain surgeon is doing a much more difficult job than a footballer.
You think so?
I definitely think so.
Really?
One mistake on the football field is okay. You can do maybe 10, 15 mistakes. You could even have a career like Harry Maguire where you were constantly being bamboozled. But a neurosurgeon, you have one slip up, it's not good. If you're a teacher,
what about a football? What about all the racial slurs footballers get? But all the attacks.
So do you think only
people,
footballers get racial slurs, not other people in the same class?
A neurosurgeon, if I have to swear at a neurosurgeon, he's fucking up. He deserves it. You understand?
So you say the salary is fine, they should be earning this much money?
No, what I'm saying is that don't underrate the value of entertainment in our society.
I'm definitely not. And I do understand how they earn this money, and because content is shared sponsors are paying big money to get their name on their T-shirt. There's money going into all the other type of contractual agreements that they have with a lot of different organizations. Soccer is a huge money generating machine if you get it right.
Yeah.
Bro, Cristiano Ronaldo's transfer fees were covered through sales of T-shirts. Think about that stat.
That's crazy.
That's huge numbers. Just for fans going to the stadium and buying the shirt with his name on it. They generated the funds.
That's crazy.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. That's why I love football. You know, because look at how passionate those people are.
But it's also like, I think for you and for me,
God damn, we're speaking about
the reason why we love this is because we love the sport, but we also love business. That's why we can look at it and appreciate some of the numbers. You know, even me, it startles me that Man United can attract the best talent. Man United is still one of the richest clubs in the world, and they ain't performing. Yeah, that's what shocks me. But anyway, that's enough of that for that.
But this topic that we're talking about, soccer, and what the topic that this whole episode's about does relate.
They tie in.
They do tie in.
For sure.
Because I know a lot of soccer fans that get heavy depressed.
Really?
Yeah, dude. If their team loses.
When shit doesn't work out.
Bro, their attitude on the day, their attitude during the week, if you say anything about their team, they snap. Really? Bro, it's serious. I think a lot of like sort of mental problems can come stem and not stem, maybe flare up because of something that your soccer team or your sports team did over the weekend.
You reminded me of this neighbor of mine. Once upon a time, my stepbrother and I went to play FIFA at his place. My stepbrother was a Man United supporter.
Oh yeah.
My friend was an Arsenal supporter. Yeah. So they were about to play, and the guy, my friend's like, no, don't choose Man United. Nobody plays with Man United in my house. And the guy's like, that's weird. Then he chooses Man United. And the guy kicked him out. Like, yeah,
brings up some trauma for people, bro. Emotions.
Like, and he was a white guy. He used to say he thought he looked like Thierry Henry.
Oh shit. But anyways, for all the viewers, June is Men's Mental Health
Awareness Month.
Awareness Month, yeah. Because and I sent you some of those stats. Did you read them, bro? The South African ones?
Some of them.
Let me bring it up on our screens. Yeah, but yeah, I think
you can bring it up, and then like I want to put the question forward, you know, to the audience and to us in this conversation, because for me, I like to understand the origin of things, you know, like the basics, the essence, the simple parts. Yeah. And it's like, okay, so where does mental health start to go bad?
When does it? When you?
Because let's assume.
We're not professionals, just by the way. So this is just my opinion.
By no means offering advice to anyone. No. We're just trying to understand it, because what we are, though, is men.
It's true. We are men.
So although we may not be qualified to clinically diagnose people, you know, we can only talk from our own experiences and what we know.
Yeah.
So for me, because, you know, I have to look at it at myself, like, man, am I in good mental health? How do I know? And that's the question I want to put forward. How do you know whether or not you're in good mental health?
That's a great question. I should ask my sister about that. Yeah. But let's run through. But I feel like if you're in good mental health, you know, there should be a sense of happiness, peace, joy, all of that, but also the understanding that sometimes in a day you might feel negative emotions, you might feel a little bit depressed on a situation that happened to you, and that's normal. I think if you're in a good mental space, you're having that constant back and forth between like, you know, this seems bad, but you know what, it's not the end of the world. That's if you're able to have that positive like affirmation after every time you have a little bit of a negative situation happen in your life, I think that is when you're in a good mental space. That's my version. I will ask my sister.
I like that.
Shout out to my sister. She works at SADC, which is the hotline that anybody should be calling if you feel like you're in a space where you might be having a panic attack, anxiety attack, any one of these things where you just need somebody to chat to. This is a hotline. These are people, trained people that will just have a conversation with you. They can offer advice and experience that they've had. These are all people. This is a NGO. Shout out to you guys. You're doing amazing work. They get thousands of calls a day. And you know, a lot of men feel like it's not okay. It's something bad to pick up the phone and tell somebody else your problems. And I think it's a stigma that we have to break. It's something that we don't get taught enough. I was thinking about it the other day. If we taught dealing with emotions in primary school, don't you think we would have a lot less confused
Isn't that
teenagers?
what LO is for?
No, LO is not. Did you ever learn about the different stages of emotions?
I actually really
what emotions
I
are?
really enjoyed LO.
Me too. You probably just liked it because of the sex orientation the whole time.
No, it was just like the only subject that was telling us about life.
That's true.
You know, like how it is. But people are different.
Okay, we had that class once a week.
But
it should have been every single day.
Yes.
And tackling topics like this.
Yeah.
Because people, I don't think, even your parents, they don't even know what emotions are and how emotions stem from early childhood development.
Especially our parents. Not to say that they're ignorant or anything, but like, you know, that age.
The baby boomer years. Yeah.
You know, we're in a different age, and when we're parents, you know,
It'll be a lot different.
I make this joke with my sister. It's not really funny, but it's funny because it's dark. It's like, one day, how do you feel knowing that one day your children are going to be talking about you to their therapist? That's what I like. Based on the way she treats them, you know, she's shouting. But it's a joke. But it's like that's the kind of parents that we're likely to be, right? Yeah. So now, you know, taking it back to the question, how do you know whether you're in good mental health or not? I like to think of the mental, the body, and the soul, you know, as three different entities that must operate together.
Beautiful, yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you're fine, you can tell that you're fine physically. You can tell. You can tell that your spirit is okay, and you can tell that your mind is okay. So what I'm saying is that you can tell. You can tell. You can tell.
If you take introspective, no, you can put that mask on, bro.
Yeah.
I know. Look at who was that amazing actor, Robin Williams?
Yes.
Bro, he looked like the happiest person in the world. He was telling the funniest jokes, and then he committed suicide. So a mask. And that's with everything in life. Everybody puts on a mask every single day. You know, to hide flaws, to hide something in their lives, and naturally we're going to do it. You can't go into an office with the face where it's going to, but then go pull a colleague aside that you trust, go to the HR manager, go to hopefully the
you know what, I was thinking about the episode we recorded last week, you know, and I saw myself shedding a tear, you know, talking about that story about my friend, and maybe in a very light but still sincere sense. Although when I looked up, you know, trauma does cause a destabilization of your mental health, you know. So what I was explaining to you is like, you know, the idea of life being so fickle actually terrifies me because, bro, firstly, I never thought I was gonna get to this age. Now that I'm here, I'm like, oh my God, we're alive. There's so much to do.
Nice.
You know, when
that positive contrast that you have to throw into the battle.
But when I'm in the car, when I'm driving, I am so anxious. I don't know if it's paranoia or it's anxiety. Because
a lot of people suffer from driving on like the highways and stuff. I mean, completely normal fear.
I'm calm, but
you're anxious.
I'm like, yo.
Yeah, your hands are sweaty the whole time.
Move.
Yeah. But you're a capable driver.
Or from someone else.
Yeah, but you're a capable driver.
Boom, everything. And you know that.
But you do it every day, bro.
It puts me in that thing, and that's what I'm saying.
I hear
like,
you.
how do you know you're in good mental health? I don't think I am personally in 100% perfect mental health.
I don't think I am either.
You know,
But it's okay.
it is okay.
And I think maybe you, as humans, we need to understand that this is an everyday battle. That some people, like a monk, to get to this, like the monk status, and you can see them and they be so like, it's an everyday process. It's not just they woke up. It's like a lifelong, consistent battle that you and yourself, not anybody else. Obviously, therapy and all of that, the counselors and all of that are amazing, but it is yourself. You're the only person that's either going to drag you out of that hole or keep you elevated at a certain level, because anything can happen. Like you say, you have that traumatic experience, something happens to you, a friend, a family member, bro, emotions are going to come out. Obviously, we know as humans, we have certain emotions that will just naturally happen. You shed a tear, you feel swag for a couple of days. Know that. But then also know that the sun, like that cliche saying, the sun is going to come up tomorrow. And tomorrow you've got to make that conscious decision and that conscious like effort to chase those negative thoughts away.
I'm so happy we're having this chat.
Yeah, people don't have it enough.
Because it's deep.
It is deep.
You know, when I think back on at that time, you know, the turning point, I think I was deteriorating. I was even having dreams of this friend of mine, you know, and I don't know, I didn't know what it meant, and it was confusing me in my life in general, because I couldn't talk about it. I have a family, but like, you know, it's not about always just having people around you. It's about having the opportunity to speak. It's not a lot of people that can grant you that, or can even have the awareness to be like, oh my God, this motherfucker needs some space. he needs to get something out. There's something is off, you know. So it was my lecturer. You know what I'm saying? And I was telling her that, yo, I'm going through some crazy shit. I don't know what's going on. She's like, maybe you're going through trauma. I was like, damn, I didn't even know I could be traumatized. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's a roll of the dice, you know, because we're different as people, right? You never know what will appeal to you. You know, like in terms of alleviating the load of whatever you're going through.
It could come through going to the gym, dude. It could be going into an arts and craft project. There's multiple ways, but as long as you're aware mentally, just aware that there is a little bit of work that you have to do to overcome these certain challenges. It's also
about wanting help.
But let me put it into perspective. Over the weekend, I was feeling a little bit mentally like battered and bruised. Certain things in my life right now putting high pressure onto me, and where's my next movement in my career path. You know, a lot of self questions and disbelief and self belief, kind of self-doubt, doubt. Dealing with a little bit of doubt and letting those negative emotions or the negative banter that I'm having in my head just overrun the positives. Led me on Monday, led me on Tuesday to being in such a miff and weird space. You know, and I was speaking to my mom after this scenario that happened, and I was like, you know, I really messed up. I didn't deal with my emotions correctly. I wasn't expressing my emotions, and I didn't deal with it in the way a man should have dealt with it. You know, and I accepted it, and then I moved on, and I I was in the shower and I actually started sending you messages because a switch happened in my head.
Sending who messages?
I sent you on LoudSpoken a couple of just secret words, not secret words because they're not secret, just keywords.
Okay.
Because it was clicking in my head. And after this all happened on Wednesday, I was just like, you know what, I'm sick and tired of feeling like this.
Yeah.
Nothing in my life is fucked up. It's actually perfect. I'm in such a beautiful space, a privileged space. And in that shower, I was just thinking about like belief and prayer and gratitude and how they all tie in, you know? And when you get down on your knees and you're praying to God and you're grateful for the things in your life, from the smallest little detail, and you realize that the magnitude of all these amazing things in your life, bro, the little shit just falls away. And that is my biggest advice.
Yeah.
When things are tough, and there's some people that are going to be on the comments, or if we ever get like a fucking flurry of comments, but you know that, but sometimes there's nothing good in my life.
Yeah.
Bro, then sometimes maybe watch a video of how shit it is for other people and how you need to have that belief that things are going to change and you can never ever give up.
Yeah, you know, there's something that
I don't know, that was my little story for the
personal testimony. So I picked up something very incredible, which is like a parallel to what you said, but you know, in my own life, in the work that I do, you know. Also in if you check our notes, I also sent some notes there about what causes
I did see
mental
that.
health in men, issues in men, and there are a lot of things there, but one, there's trauma, and then another one was like the things you're taught, you know. So for me, dog, I grew up like super religious. You know, I don't know what it means to you, but in that background of mine, when we say baptism, you know, my mom got baptized the year I was born. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up. There's anybody who had that shit?
Oh, you were getting it.
I was getting it.
Yeah.
It was in me.
Yeah, your mom was getting it firsthand and giving it to you firsthand.
She was chewing it up and giving it. You know? So yeah, man, and I went to a super religious high school, which really, if you ask me, wasted our potential. But no, for real, dog, because it taught me a fucked up parallel to tangent to think on, which is like
an indoctrinated thought process.
Yes, exactly. Linking my mental academic excellence to my spiritual life. So if I'm failing in school, I'm probably failing in God.
Your spiritual, yeah, that makes sense.
He's not happy with you. No, but that's crazy.
That's why I like the pagan approach. Like Thor would have just thrown a lightning bolt on you, bro.
Pagan approach. Yeah, you know, and that shit fucked me up from grade 8 till matric. I'm thinking, man, why am I not getting this shit right? Or why am I getting this shit right and this shit? You know, like it just wasn't computing, and it became embedded. You know, like ultimately to the point that success, you know, was defined by this religion too. You know, there's this verse that motherfuckers love to quote. One day you'll hear it. It says, For it is impossible for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven, just like it's impossible for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. The eye of a needle is just a small hole in a wall. You know, back then, you know, when you used to enter through the city walls. The eye of a needle is small. But I took it also literally back then. Like, what the fuck? So it's impossible. Impossible. You know, you just start having a Bible here. So,
so you can show me the verse.
Yeah, because it's really part of my background, but I don't subscribe to it. But anyway, it's like so bro, I'm an entrepreneur now, right? In fact, I've always been an entrepreneur. I just realized it now, right? So to be an entrepreneur, you have to be motivated to make profit. You get what I'm saying? So I'm trying to explain that I've always been motivated to make money my whole life.
I think I disagree with you there though.
Okay.
Not everything, just on entrepreneurs to make profit. I think some entrepreneurs want to build success, and that will translate into profit. Because not all entrepreneurs are trying to build a business to flip businesses.
Yeah.
Some entrepreneurs are there to build a legacy, to build something that changes the world or something like that. And that generally also relates to profits.
That's what I'm saying.
But the general everyday hustler is looking obviously.
Check the definition of entrepreneurship.
Okay.
The word profit is there in the definition.
You sound so fucking confident right now. I shouldn't swear, you see. God, sorry, Mom. I'm really trying.
So what I'm trying to explain is that, like, my ambition as my character ambition, my personality trait of being ambitious found itself in conflict with these religious teachings.
Okay.
And I found myself and I found myself playing myself because I didn't want to miss out on heaven. So imagine, dog, there's a whole Christian principle around it saying deny yourself for Christ. So you're over there thinking, man, I really want to smoke this joint. I want to do it.
Yeah.
And the voice is saying, deny yourself for Christ. And you're like, oh my God, now I have to do for Christ what I don't want to do. What about what I want to do?
Yeah.
Then you're not being fulfilled.
Yeah.
That's another thing that makes people upset, bro. Like, if there's nothing to be grateful about, you don't know how to be grateful because you're talking
to the right person here, bro.
You're not tapping in.
That's why I didn't like going to church. Like, there's some cool lessons. There's some beautiful lessons in there.
That shit is wild.
But it makes you second guess everything. And I'm pretty spiritual. Just do what you want to do, and just don't hurt other people, and don't involve other people in your drama. And then me are sharp. So God is a very personal relationship. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say how is somebody more important that he can only hear the voice of God. Are you crazy?
Shannon, even if you and I are siblings and God is our dad, do you know that we don't have the same relationship with our father?
Yeah.
Even if we're twins.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a brilliant point.
Even if we're twins, dog.
Amen.
Now we need a Bible.
Entrepreneur, a person who makes money by starting new businesses. End.
Okay.
See, makes money, but okay, fair.
Okay, thank you for saying that. I was about to argue
profit and money.
I was actually going to say we need to change our dictionary.
This one's an old boy.
Yeah. Maybe our supporters can help us get a new dictionary.
But bro, what was some crazy stats that
you did, the stats.
You did say? Or do you want to go through the top causes of deterioration and health in men?
Let's go through some of the stats.
Let's go through some of the stats.
The scary stats.
Especially relating to South Africa, because obviously that's where we live. So South Africa has a suicide rate of 23.5%.
Damn.
This is in an audit of 100,000 people. Men are 4 to 5 times more likely to die by suicide than women.
Shit.
And the stat I read another stat is men are more likely to go through with the suicide than women. So the women are obviously attempting suicide, but men are more likely to go through with it at that exact same percentage. Obviously, it's bad both ways.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to interrupt the report.
Go for it.
Have you ever thought of committing suicide?
Of course, the thought.
Ever been suicidal?
I've the thoughts. I'm not going to lie to you, because I have gone to therapy.
I think the
thoughts obviously cross through your mind. It is natural, yeah, I think so.
Like, what if?
I think there's a lot of people with explicit imaginations, and I am one of those people, and I'm highly emotional. So I do think that, and I'll never do it. Firstly, I'll never do it to my mother, because she will literally, I know, just crook over if I did that, you know.
Yeah.
So I would never leave my family in that.
More than
you
would die.
More than I would die, yeah. I would never do that to my family, and I know there is support structures. Like I've said, my sister, my brother-in-law is a psychologist, so there's trained professionals everywhere. There's free professionals out there. You know, that's the thing. So if you are having those thoughts, please go seek help. Go online, jump online, SADAX there. Those people will just give you that lending ear, and that's sometimes all it takes. It's just that somebody listening to you, listening to your heartache, listening to that story, that just relieves it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
In 2019, out of the 13,774 suicide deaths, 10,861 were male, 79%.
That's crazy.
So 27% of South Africans are affected by depression, mental health, though. Their disorders, we are as men are less likely to seek help for that. So we've got 27% of the population that has depression, and there's a high percentage of these men that aren't seeking help or don't know where to go. And that's one of the things that you brought up in the problems. There's lack of, the stigma around it, that we're men, we boys don't cry. That's a huge
toxic
one.
masculinity.
Toxic masculinity, and then just the lack of education around it. You know, people are nowadays getting thrown with money. You know, the unemployment rate between the ages of 15 to 24 in South Africa, 70%, dude.
Yeah. But you know,
so I understand that would make a man depressed. Just imagine you, and I'm sure a lot of people have gone through this, female or male. They're looking for jobs. I don't even know if we got times for confessions today, but looking for a job over an extended period, that's a depressing thing to deal with.
Let me tell you something very, very interesting, right, dog? Because you know, this thing is deep, dog. This shit is so deep. You know, you find, because we're talking as men, right?
That's what we are.
And we're talking as men to, you know, a broad audience. It doesn't really matter what your gender is, you know, but we're just saying what we're saying as men, right? And for me, I think, like, when I observe what I observe in society, you know, like, a lot of people do a lot of things circumstantially and not intentionally. You know, it's like, oh, here's a girl, you know, and then, like, you find yourself doing and being somebody you're not just because of a circumstance, you know, and that has a very toxic effect on you as a man. You know, I was listening to, and the ultimate circumstance that I'm talking about is that unemployment stat between young men, right? Because let me paint this picture first and then I'll tie it. Like, I have this friend, right? She stays in the States, and she was visiting. Actually, she used to be a member here at iGrow.
Oh, shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out to iGrow.
Shout out to iGrow, man. But you know, she was at the States, so she's in the States now. so we were chilling. I think it was the day she was leaving, if not the week, and we were just driving around. She was talking to me and my girlfriend, and she's like, we've got a slogan, me and my partner, or in our circle. She's like, your partner is not your therapist. Oh, that fucked me up. I was like, what? That's crazy. So me being who I am, knowing what I know, coming from where I come from, I actually didn't ask too many questions, because to an extent I understood it. America is the land of the free, right? So their unemployment rate, they start to sweat when it starts to approach 10%. That means almost 90% of their population is employed, right? There are so many jobs, you can even work 2 jobs.
Very true. 2 or 3. Some of these people do that. Yeah.
There's so much that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Right.
Cost of living is high in America.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now what I understood from that is, like, these things that we do to our partners, that, oh no, you have to be there for me and understand me. The reason why we're putting that pressure on our partners is because we can't afford to go get the help that we need.
Why can't you afford it?
The economy, this economy, is not conducive to that.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So now you find yourself having to find a therapist in your partner who's also going through shit.
100%.
They're trying to figure themselves out.
That's to mix people's emotions like that. It's a dangerous game sometimes, especially if
you're both in a fragile state.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, like Rihanna,
I think that happens with everybody.
Rihanna, we found love in a hopeless. Imagine two people finding love in a hopeless place.
Yeah.
Oh, dog.
No, it's true, and a lot of people do get into relationships like that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
a lot of pressure to put on your partner, dog.
Yeah.
On top of what you are going through.
Not to say that you shouldn't learn about your partners, how they deal with situations, and talk to your partner about certain things.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't rely on them to also give you the solutions and the answers that you expect or you want to hear.
If you have a good partner, they'll listen and say, now go tell your therapist.
Yeah, true. I've learned that lesson now. You know, like going through different relationships.
In a harsh sense.
No, not in a harsh sense. Just like how to deal with females when they're expressing like deep anger towards something.
Yeah.
How to mitigate that. Deep sadness. How to mitigate that. And each partner is different.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, on myself, if I'm a little bit emotional, I'm not going to pick up on those clues that they're giving me. You know, I'm going to be in my own.
Especially if it's about you. You're also in the fight, so you're defending yourself.
But your head's also going in all different directions, so you're not in the right space to be even in the scenario, let alone in a relationship.
And then you start telling this partner of yours who they are. No, you know what your problem is.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's true.
That's where we fuck up. Who trained you to start telling people what their problem is?
Yeah, that's true.
I think that is one of the biggest contributors, but highly underrated. Yes, we all want someone to be close to us, but we don't have the tools. We can only support, but I don't have the tools.
Yeah, unless you're dating a psychologist.
That's one of some scary shit, man. That is I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they find love.
The psychologist. Yeah, that must.
But they probably have an algorithm.
But the book that I'm reading still, that Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene, it is breaking down how personality character traits are developed through the person in these different stages, early on, adolescence, and then putting on that social mask.
For me, I also read a book. I don't know why it interested me quite some time ago in my life. It was called Why Him, Why Her, and it's a personality test, but it analyzes why people are attracted to why you're attracted to who you are based on your personality. And I feel like we should do this. We should do this. If you get psychometric analysis for your job, you definitely need psychometric.
For your woman, the one that you're going to spend the most time with. No, I agree, Una. No, you've just created a great business. We're going to do this.
Even she needs it for you.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, what this motherfucker? I didn't know you were crazy.
And for all those guys, it's not a compatibility test that you do online. This is going to go deep. Psychological studies need to be done for this.
Yeah, so yeah.
It's like a 1 year off. It's like a 1 year process.
Yeah. I mean, and I think.
But if you're going into a relationship, know that it is going to play on your emotions. It's going to play on your emotional stability as well. So that is one of the pros and cons of being in a relationship. Obviously, there's a lot of pros, and this is one of the cons.
Why is there no sympathy for men? And I'm saying that not to say that men deserve sympathy. I'm saying that like when a man needs to cry or wants to cry, why do other men or people or society, whatever?
I think that stigma is breaking slowly.
You think so?
I think so. I think like a lot of women now, in the olden days, they wouldn't have even had one hesitation. Do you want a man that cries? They would have all said no. right? Now if you ask that question to a modern day female, what they would say, some of them would say, no, that shows emotional character, emotional strength. Some will question, why is he crying?
But a man that cries and a vulnerable man, is that the same thing?
A man that cries versus a vulnerable man. No, because sometimes you can just shed a tear because a certain memory popped up in your head.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're less of a man. That just means you're showing emotion. It could be you hear the song that your mom passed away 2 years used to listen to, and that brings emotion to you. And it is okay to have that emotion and to feel that fucking thing run through your body. Sorry, mom, for swearing again. But it's okay to have that and to talk to sometimes your partner. You could bring it up with your partner and be like, yo, I listened to a song that reminded me of my mom today, and they'll be like, oh, that's sweet. Remember the times, and then you just have a good conversation about remembering your mom. So that is beautiful.
You know, Shannon.
Must be, yeah.
I haven't spoken about that friend of mine that I've been telling you about in such a long time because it's hard. Like, who do you talk to? It's a crazy story. So I'm saying all of that.
Have you ever gone to therapy?
I was taken to therapy.
Oh, like
I had a phase in my life where I was taken to therapy.
Therapy?
No. As a kid, I was going crazy.
Okay.
I think I had a mild case of kleptomania, dog.
Kleptomania?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, dog. I was just stealing things.
Crazy.
I was going crazy. Cornell Hill College. Yeah, I was expelled from there.
Crazy. Bro, I also...
And that was like 6 months within my dad
adolescent,
passing away.
what do they call that? Adolescents, like looking for did your out of interest. No, this might be touching. Okay. Were your parents very busy during that stage of your life?
I don't know, man. I feel like they were there, bro.
They were there.
Yeah. I just think
no, because an adolescent's rebellious stage. It's not an uncommon thing to happen in high schools and all of this. So I find it interesting.
But I
find it interesting to find the root cause of why you were looking for that sort of adrenaline rush. What was missing, or what was psychologically not happening in your life that you needed to get that type of a rush?
I can tell you.
Oh, great. Fucking awesome.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Right. I just think that for some reason, at some point in my life, or up until a certain point in my life, I was just comparing myself to people. You know what I'm saying? So comparing.
Were you trying to be a young 50 Cent?
Yeah, I actually just think that I thought our family was poor. And we were going to Cornell Hill College. These kids, some of them had horses. Some of them rich.
Money goes there, yeah.
Like, and at the same time, I had just lost my dad, so it was like...
Oh, crazy.
It was like, man...
Okay, well, there's the underlying factor right there, bro.
No, trust me, I solved it. I solved the case. That's why I'm able to express it and not burst into tears. It was just like that, and I just felt like, man, everyone's got better everything than us, and I'll never get attention. I'm a loser.
Yeah.
That's where I was, and I'm glad it came out that early in my life.
What was the changing, if I may ask? What?
Dog,
did you get caught?
Plenty times. I got expelled.
Oh yeah, of course.
Once.
You just told me.
Then the other time, and I'm not ashamed.
So you didn't even learn from the first expulsion. You went back in.
They sent me back to Zimbabwe, from Cornell Hill to the rural areas. I was walking 4 kilometers to school one way.
Yo, 4 kilometers back.
You know what I'm saying? In the holidays, I was tending the fields. my personality changed in that time. I became a patient person. For real, I was like,
Ain't going nowhere anytime soon.
I'm suffering from instant gratification. I need to calm the fuck down.
So, parents, if you've got any problems, who knows what the solution for you? Just send them to somewhere.
But that spot would make a great rehab, babe, because it's in a valley.
Yeah, it makes
like
you just realize.
My grandfather's place, it's in a valley.
Gratitude.
It's in a valley. The closest neighbor is 3 kilometers away on that side of the mountain.
Okay,
and
so let me ask this, because
cool.
you've been in this position.
Yes.
What advice would you give your younger self? If you could, at your age now, thinking back, what advice?
That has to be one of the best questions I ever heard, especially in this context. Just slow down, man.
Slow down.
Yeah, I was going crazy.
Do you think your younger self would have listened to that advice? Slow down. I don't think so.
So you want me to? Okay. The thing is, dog, I turned out fine.
You did. Yeah, that's
so
fate. We spoke about it episode whatever.
I would have just told him, look, man.
You did turn out into a good individual.
I did. Good is an understatement, nigga. I'm great. When people call me and they ask me, how you doing? I tell them I'm great.
Yeah,
like,
you do say that, yeah.
Yeah, great, and you? Like, what? And you know why? It's because I found my purpose. That's another thing. Look at raison d'être. It's French for reason to live.
Yeah.
It's another thing that men struggle with. Like they're not motivated to do anything.
Yeah, because they're in a dead ass job 9 to 5.
And that's another
they're not following their passion.
Another tool I was taught in combating this thing is if you don't know what to do with yourself, if you're struggling, just help someone.
True.
Help someone. Struggle, but help someone.
Yeah. Gratitude.
And that's another thing, dog. People play with DJ Khaled, bro. DJ Khaled wrote a book called Major Key.
DJ Khaled.
Is it Major Key? It's called The Keys. Bro, the biggest key, the best thing he ever wrote in that book, which makes that book my favorite book before the Bible even, is gratitude. Gratitude is the key. And he teaches that if you want to live a better life, right? If you want to identify around you people who are not good for you, it's the people who are not grateful for what they have and for what's going on. Those are people you need to cut out, especially if you have an attitude of gratitude. You know what I'm saying?
It's good advice.
I was like, damn.
Yeah, your circle is it's an important factor of your life. Who you let into that circle, who you do business with.
You cannot surround yourself with people who are going to complain all the time.
Or just eat your energy.
Yeah.
That take away.
We call them energy vampires.
Yeah, energy vampires.
Exist.
Yeah, they do exist big time,
bro.
Yeah.
And for
one of my close friends is an energy vampire. But I feel such a big connection to him. Like any time this person will call.
Do you think that could be a trauma bond?
It could be a trauma bond.
Have you guys gone through some crazy shit, or have you shared some crazy shit in each other's lives? Yeah. Friends.
Multiple years, 18. So, very good, interesting insight there, breaking it down. But he always complains, and I will always listen. And it is tough. Sometimes, I will always answer his calls, except on the days where I'm feeling drained. When my cup is so empty that I can't even give you 10%. Yeah. And you must be aware of that. Even if you just feel it, you don't have to imagine a cup, because that's weird. But just know, you know, introspect, look inwards, like do some thinking, and really you'll start to feel your different emotions. And when situations happen, I know it's very difficult to pick it up as it happens, but go do some more. Go sit afterwards when I make you angry, or when you make me angry. go that night and play the conversation and see, why did my emotions build up? Where did that stem from? That's the only way you're going to become like the monks and feel like nothing bothers you in the world.
Yeah.
Because I think every single
But
day.
even spiritual depth, like how do people, like I like to have this phrase. I know what it means to myself, right? Because I'm the one that coined it. But do people go through it? When we say you need to, what are you doing to grow your soul? So people read the Bible. I mean, sincerely, right? People who read it sincerely, they read it to grow their souls. Like for me, I realized that what I liked about the Bible is not necessarily the stories. I like the lessons. I enjoy literature. I like metaphors, eulogies.
Yeah. So you love the Bible. It's full of those.
Did I say eulogies?
Yeah, eulogies is something.
What's the word I'm looking for?
And
Analogies. Maybe.
Yeah.
But there's another one. It'll come. So I love that. I love that. So I forgot where I was going.
We're speaking about loud. Why you love the Bible?
No, I was talking about growing your soul.
Oh yeah.
So I learned to love quotations, right? Like I buy diaries. I never write anything in them.
Okay.
My diary keeping sucks, but I love to read the quotes. Really, every year I buy a diary.
Okay.
But I like
just
to
those.
Bro, that shit feeds my soul.
You could just like Google it. You don't need to buy a diary.
You know what I love the most? I have to tell you, it's the randomness. Because if I Google,
sometimes it links up.
It's almost like horoscopes.
These bastards.
What? How did you know?
We are in the Matrix.
David Thoreau know that on this day I was good. Oh my God.
The Truman Show's real and you're in it, bro. Look at the light.
But that's what I love. And that, you know what that does to me?
Shit.
It gives me a reassurance on my back, like, bro, you're actually on the right path. That coincidence.
Yeah. True. That's nice. Yeah.
It's like, wow. Dog, nah. It's happened to me too many times to count.
That's sometimes like, my friend is way, Rudy.
Yeah.
Bro, he's way too into horoscope. Shout out Rudy.
Yeah.
And he always sends me something, and sometimes I'm a little. I read them and I'm like,
how did you know?
Oh yeah, how did you know that? And then I'm just like, it is also very broad. It could be happening at any given time, but there is some sort of coincidence. There is some sort of divine. And
more than anything, bro, before we read, you don't have to read too much into it, because I think the ultimate purpose is to reassure you. Like I've been saying, I do study a lot and read a lot about this new age stuff. It's very intriguing. I love it. Zen, Buddhism, whatever. I love it. So it's called synchronicities. Like when something occurs seemingly perchance in the external world, but it complements something that you're going through in your internal world. That is a synchronicity. And the ultimate purpose of that should be to reassure you that, on this particular topic, you're on the right path. That's it.
Yeah, I think as humans we're always looking for that little bit of reassurance.
It gets obsessive, and then the thing is, like, obsessive. I think obsession could also be another entry point for mental health condition. Because, bro, you can't be obsessed, bro.
Well, to a certain degree.
Under what circumstance is obsession positive?
Cristiano Ronaldo's obsession right now of creating a super athlete to play soccer until 50.
Do you think everybody in Ronaldo's circle is happy about that?
No, I don't think so.
So but why is the obsession good?
For him, it's a good obsession. He's becoming...
Obsession, yes. No, it's not even good for you.
It's good for him.
No, dog.
He's going to be an athlete until 50. Is that... In what world is that not a good thing?
Is Messi obsessed?
He's not obsessed at all. I think he's obsessed with football. But to a point, yeah, of course, all of these super crazy.
Bro, okay.
Footballers are obsessed.
Let's personalize it. Let's personalize it. Have
But
you ever been obsessed with a woman?
I've been infatuated and obsessed for a short period of time, yeah, and then the obsession fades
How
away
did it end?
with realization that it was just obsession.
You're getting crazy. You realize you're getting crazy.
Me?
I'm asking.
I realized that this is not normal.
So for me, I had a crazy memory the other day. I remembered myself in grade 5.
Yeah.
And I had just found how to use Microsoft Publisher.
Okay.
And it was Valentine's Day.
Oh, nice. So you made a card.
We used my friend's pet card, Belle.
Oh, nice.
We made a card. He helped me make a card for this girl, and then I thought she was cute. She was where you're going next week. Maybe you'll see her. She was Greek.
Okay.
I'll never forget her name. Her name was Ruler.
Ruler?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I died. Like,
you are obsessed.
Always teasing her. Bro, I sent her. I don't know how many cards I must have sent her.
That's cute, man.
Until one day, my teacher called me out. She's like, yo, you need to stop doing this shit.
It's getting a bit weird.
Bro.
Shame.
Her
But that's cute, man.
Even my parents
Got called in.
Yeah, they told me one time we were on vacations. I'm like, what's going on? You telling girls you love them? What the fuck, bro? And I was like, oh my god, I must have been obsessed. What the fuck was going on?
Yeah, but that's just young adolescence now, man. Don't worry.
Dog.
We all go through it.
This is what I say about
I'm obsessed with this TV show I'm watching. I'm obsessed with it, bro. I swear to God, I'm not watching it. I put it on one episode. I'm 6 episodes in. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just like, what
does that sound good?
No.
That's what I'm saying. There's no circumstance under which obsession is good.
I didn't disagree with that statement, though.
Okay, cool. I thought I will argue.
But there are some obsessions that are good. Like if it's health driven, and if it's bettering of self.
Obsession, if you ask me.
But I do see it's a fine line.
You've crossed the line if you're obsessed.
Yeah.
If you're obsessed, in my opinion, you've crossed the line.
I hear you.
You know,
balance.
Because you need to.
It's all about balance.
You also need to let shit go.
Yeah.
You know, this is why I love the Zen. The Zen, they say the root of your suffering is your attachment. And you ask yourself, attachment to what? No. The fact that you even get attached to anything is why you're going to suffer. The thing that you're attached to is what will cause you to suffer.
I think a lot of people are attached to their egos.
Yeah. Now we're talking. This was just the intro. The ego. Yeah. The false perception of self. You mean that?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest cause for depression, because we're trying to evade that self-evaluation of our ego and of how we present ourselves and how we should be presenting ourselves, and that's a tough battle to go through every single day as a human, bro. But we do it.
You know which thought kills me sometimes when I'm thinking to myself after someone offends me. This motherfucker doesn't know who I am. And then I think about, okay, but who are you?
Yeah, bro.
And then that evaporates the anger.
Yeah, it's true.
Because it's like, you mean to tell me that no one can make you angry? Who are you? And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm a normal person.
He put an Uno reverse on you straight.
Yeah, exactly. I Uno reversed myself. Okay, fine. Then you forgive. That's the other thing, dog. Forgiveness. You know, bro. Bro.
We have spoken about that.
Is there a grudge without obsession?
I think there must be some sort of grudges. If we use grudge as like there's some sort of fire that burns his passion into obsession.
Let's go.
What am I looking at?
Let's look at obsession and then grudge. A grudge, bro. The quote goes, keeping a grudge is like eating poison expecting someone else to die. How crazy is that?
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
A grudge is like eating poison and expecting someone else to die.
That's very good.
That's crazy.
Because you're only holding the grudge. They're not holding the grudge.
Come on.
Shit.
Let that shit go.
That is amazing.
It's those quotes.
Those
quotes in the diary.
Yeah, you know, people must just like all the cuck in their head that's giving them problems, like your Buddha friend said now, or your Zenist friend said. Just gotta let it go.
Bro.
But saying it so easily in front of a mic is very easy. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, dog, well, what choice do you have?
Obsession, the state of being obsessed. An idea or thought that dominates someone's thoughts. An idea or thought that dominates somebody's thoughts.
Imagine your thoughts being dominated by something. Oh my God.
By someone's thoughts. An idea or thought that dominates someone's thoughts.
Look for the word obsess, because you said
this was obsession. Obsess. Be thinking about someone or something continuously and disturbingly.
You see what I'm saying? There's no way that obsess is
a good
positive
thing. Yeah. Now we're learning.
Yeah, I'm saying there's no way. So a grudge is obsessing. A grudge is obsessive.
Holding a grudge is so stupid. Just wasting energy.
Yeah.
You've taken that cup that we were talking about and you're just like putting your fingers and splashing the water out.
So
stupid.
So that's the thing, dog. These are the things that kill people. That deteriorate our mental health. And the thing is, like, it's a spiritual effort.
Everything's affecting our mental health. Every single scenario in our life, unfortunately, affects our mental side, our mental state.
Then there are people born with mental health issues.
True. In their genetics,
that they can't even figure out.
It's true. ADHD, you know, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, there was like 1 in 100,000 kids. Now it's like 1 in 10 kids has ADHD or autism. You know, autism it wasn't even a thing. Now we've got every kid born with autism. Yeah, it was crazy. What's happening, Kingsley? So yeah, it's
let me answer this. I have to.
You have to.
Yo, Kingsley, I am like 15 minutes away, bro. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's
Kingsley.
Yeah, it's very important.
What are we talking about now?
Yeah, the effort it takes to maintain your your mental health.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And guys, if you are ever feeling in a position, there are support structures. Sometimes it's just as easy as journaling, expressing your emotions to yourself. Send yourself a voice note. But you have to just. There's a guy that I follow, Bond Gives, and he gives money to homeless, and shout out to him. And he always gives them with one thing. He just says to them, never give up. And that is the biggest thing. It is just a constant daily battle that we just have to just tackle. It's just part of life. We've just got to tackle it. And that is there's some dark days where it just feels like there's clouds over your head. Understand that though, that's okay. You can have a couple of those days, but don't let it then start affecting your relationships, because it will. It's going to start upsetting your outlook on your work. It's going to upset your outlook on life as general. When you read politics or you watch news, you feel slightly more emotional because you're not dealing with your personal stuff. And now everything that we're dealing with social media, it's in our face 24/7. So you've got to be careful of that. Do a social media cleanse if you really need, if you're really feeling it. I think that is step one for a lot of people. Do a social media cleanse. Fucking delete the apps or do a 30-day account.
Yeah, even to be honest, even weed. I mean, we're smoking weed on the show. We're enjoying it, but it's about responsible use. Everything is about responsible.
Not everybody's the same.
Another gateway is
true.
substances.
substance abuse and alcohol abuse is another big leader for mental decline. Cannabis is also a very dangerous substance. So don't get us wrong, we're not promoting smoking whatsoever. Certain individuals should not be smoking. It fucks them up mentally. Sorry for swearing again, but it really does. It really does mean it doesn't work with their chemicals in their brains. So guys, if you're smoking and you're feeling like every time after a joint you overthinking and you're overanalyzing, give it a break. Try something else. Do meditation, go to yoga, go gym, pick up a new hobby, chat to a homie, go see a therapist, pick up the phone, journal. There are so many options available. Just don't give up.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
So maybe my 25-year-old self, because that's, I think, where I was starting a bit of the rockiness.
Really?
Yeah, that's.
So up to 25, you're cool.
I was pretty. I was happy.
And you're 33 now.
Maybe when I was younger, I was upset that I wasn't going to grow. You know, that was my biggest depression in
taller.
life. Get taller. Yeah, I was very small. So that, as a young guy,
Okay, I'm not laughing at you.
No. It's a lot of things, and then thank God, growth spurt, like woohoo, you know. But that caused a lot of sadness in my life. Was that dealing with I'm a smaller individual, you know, and that affected my psyche a lot, definitely, and it
inferiority complex, literally,
to a certain degree, yeah, for sure. So my younger self, I would have told myself, don't let what you think others are thinking. You know, I was just thinking other people think I'm not going to be as strong, but my performances showed otherwise. I was a little dynamite. Dynamite came in small packages on the rugby field, on the sports field. I gave it my all, so it actually didn't matter, but I thought it mattered. You know, so maybe letting go of, and even now, I care so much what other people think about me sometimes still. I catch myself like thinking about that. So
self-conscious.
So I would give my younger 25-year-old self would be like, start focusing on you, understand you. Because I think I only found myself after I dealt through all of these emotions and went through this hectic stage of casinos, partying, drugs, all of that. You know, I went through that because I wasn't dealing with it. So if I maybe did it at that age, and I said, learn about yourself and what upsets you as an individual and what your emotions, what you're going through, start breaking that down and go seek help, seek advice, speak about it, share your experiences or deal with it. I dealt with it in the wrong way. I dealt with it by forgetting about it, moving on, and that caught me in a very bad trap, obviously. You know what I mean? It caught me in a trap of drowning my sorrows in substance abuse. You know, smoke when I'm feeling about it. No, let's just light a joint, because that's what weed does for me. It stops the voices. That's fortunately for me, you know. So, but you can't sometimes. You've got to deal with these voices in your head. You know, you've got to go and you've got to analyze everything that's going on. So if I did that, and the trauma that happened to me of the abduction and whatever, because that was the period that this all started, me not really knowing life. This happens, fragile life now, and then doing this whole period, I was hiding that from myself by doing these things. I was just smothering it and then hoping that it would fade away, and it would never fade away. Unfortunately, you've got to sit down, deal with it, analyze yourself, pick on the things that you hate in yourself, and how do I better that? How do I better that part of me?
That's true.
And it's not going to fix over it's not going to be fixed overnight. You know, it's going to be, it's a long process, and it's the journey, dude. It's all about the journey, my brother.
Can I tell you, this is what I love the most about my music. Like when I listen to it, I hear myself speaking to myself, you know, telling myself that I got this.
Beautiful.
You know, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I wrote this, meaning I knew that I got this. So I'm acting like I don't got this. I'm telling you, I'm one of my favorite artists. Yeah. You know, without shameless promotion, I feel like I make the music that speaks to me.
Yeah, beautiful, man.
you know. And that's another thing that I
Like
encourage
your
people to
last
do.
song that you played for me in the car.
Yeah, New Balance.
New Balance. Yeah,
Shout out.
that's a
That one's
banger.
coming soon, and it's also about mental health. You know, the chorus goes, "I found a new balance. It's a new way to do things. New balance, never moved when the mood swings.
Yo, nice.
You know, new balance. I'm just handling my business, keep it moving through the mazes. Amazing. Yeah.
No,
All right, Shane the Cannon Man.
no, bro. Shout out to all the guys that are out there struggling. Just know,
Yeah.
somebody's out there
I
that
think today these are
you're not
our
alone.
confessions. We did the confessions.
we confessed a lot. No, we won't touch them. And there's a lot of them out there that are dealing with problems, and we see it.
Yeah.
Most of these confessions are mental health problems.
I'm telling you,
A lot of them, bro.
We laugh at them, but they're crazy.
They
A
are,
lot of
yeah.
people going through some crazy
So,
shit.
guys, there is help, and just know that you have to put in a little bit of effort yourself. The only person that's going to grip your hand at the end of the day, there will be people that are going to pull you up, but at the end of the day, the only person that's going to really pull you out is you. So you've got to make that conscious effort to go seek help, to know that it is okay to feel the way that you are feeling, and to share emotions and express emotions. Ain't nothing gay about that. No shout out to nothing offensive to my gay homies.
I'm gonna tell you a joke.
Tell me a dark joke.
Men don't get therapy. They start podcasts.
They start podcasts. God damn.